Hello, hello. Welcome to Healthy Perspectives, a podcast that takes on current cultural and social issues through a clinical lens. Hello, hello. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we appreciate your time. And today I want to address corruption. So if you're interested in the idea of corruption, hang along. Let's go for a ride. I want to go over cultural aspects, social aspects in terms of familial aspects, so social groupings, friend groups, stuff like that. I also want to hit the psychological. Look, you all know I'm a clinical counselor, and this is what I try to do is break these things down, because we are hearing this pervasive language around corruption. Donald Trump's corrupt. Joe Biden's corrupt. Everybody in the House and the Senate and in politics is corrupt. Your mayor is probably corrupt. Your mom and dad are probably corrupt too. Let's be real. Everybody's corrupt today. And that's just kind of ridiculous. Okay. Now, are people flawed? Absolutely. Do I think that this is a good thing that we have all these flaws? Absolutely not. And yet, we still have decisions to make every single day. And I want to help you make good decisions based off of well-informed concepts, ideas, theories, applications, and stuff like that. So let's first define what corruption is. Corruption, when you hear this, first of all, it's often used. Let's just start with it's often used by politicians or propagandists. Why? Because it incites emotion. It makes you feel stuff. And then once you feel stuff, you usually start to question, doubt, have increased skepticism. Now, skepticism and the like are not problematic. You should be skeptical. And the problem we're having is everybody's using this word, so it's losing its luster. At the same time, it still works, unfortunately. Because people hear this and they're like, whoa, block everything coming from that direction. Why? Because it's all corrupt. And then good information can't get through. Why? Because you won't let it through. So corruption, it's the abuse of entrusted power for private gain. Entrusted power, well, that's like roles. Like you have the role of maybe being a son or a daughter, a brother or sister, a mother or father, a worker, like an employee, or a boss. You could be the one in charge, or you could be the boss's boss, right? These things are all roles. So we have to do some role consideration when we look at corruption. What are the roles that you are being entrusted to? Are you the president of the United States? Do you run your own small business? Are you an employee working for somebody, or do you have employees working for you? Right? These roles matter. So if you need some help around roles, we can have that conversation. Just toss me an email or something and say, hey, I want to understand, like, what kinds of roles are there? Happy to go into that in more depth, but understand we put people in entrusted positions of power, places where they can influence us, you and me. And then it can manifest in various forms. Now, what kinds of forms? Let's take a look. Fraud is one of them. Embezzlement. See, that's what the whole Donald Trump thing is all about. It's saying, can we trust a person who, is using fraudulent practices? That's what's being cited as this person is manipulating things to better themselves. How about bribery? That's the whole Joe Biden narrative is about. Well, he's taking briberies from, or his son is doing this kind of bribery, and we know he's involved in embezzlement and nepotism. Both of them are being accused of nepotism. What is nepotism? Showing favoritism to your family or friends, right? Others would include basically anything, manipulation of policy, anything rules, anything that creates a personal benefit from a position of authority or power. Inherently, that means it undermines trust, it impedes economic development, it exacerbates inequality, and clearly erodes away at all kinds of social structures that we as people should be negotiating to eliminate, right? Lawlessness is not good. We should fight to eliminate lawlessness. And yet, one of the most corrupt things we're hearing is, let's abolish the police. Are you kidding me? Like, what? That's a problem, folks. Okay, so that's really the framework from which we work from. Now let's take big picture. We're going to go from big to small today. What are the cultural impacts of pervasive corruption? The cultural impacts. So we would have to look at the economics, social impacts, political impacts. Politics and is a subsect of culture. Just a reminder for you. The moral impacts, and then we have to look, breaking it down further, we'd have to look at the psychological impacts. Okay, we'll get to those too. Well, we also have to look at the social impacts once we get out of the cultural. All right, so let's just start with the culture. Economic impact. People get skeptical, and when they get skeptical, what do? They hoard. Why? To try to create a nest of safety in a world of chaos. It's pretty simple, folks. It's not that difficult to understand, which then creates cogs and inefficiencies and reduces growth. So all this talk about all the growth that's going on in our culture has to be a lie. Why? Because when people are most skeptical, growth inevitably slows down or stops. It's inevitable. Let's take a look at the social impacts. It erodes trust, creates inequality, and because those cogs are getting locked up, you get inefficiencies. The political impacts. How about weak governance? Weak, right? What it does is it pits the people against the people in the roles that we talked about. It's saying, ooh, the us them mentality increases, which creates instability. And then you have all this wrestling and fighting for new or improved policies to try to regain rigidity in the midst of chaos. And so the legal system then gets enhanced. This is coming, by the way, folks. What about the moral and ethical impacts? Like, I'm doing a super fast breakdown for you, folks. I hope you're able to keep up. Now, I mean, I know I got a smart audience, but this is complicated stuff. The decline in morality. Why would that happen when there's corruption? Because people then they have to, not they have to, but they feel like they have to protect what's theirs, which means we're more likely to get defensive. We're more likely to look for victimhood so that we can attack and be aggressive. We're more likely to boost ourselves instead of others. That's a normal response to corruption. Not saying that we want these things, because we really don't. But now break it down from the culture to the social, which I will define as like families, your most basic social structure, which is your family. The economic strain means you're going to deal with increased cost, reduced opportunities, So it's coming, folks. I hope you're paying attention. If this corruption proves to be viable, valid, real, you are all going to feel this. Access to resources, things like education, healthcare, stuff like that, it's going to diminish. Why? Because people everywhere will be hoarding, taking and keeping instead of giving and loving. You got to protect what's ours during hard times. That's what people think. There's a drought. What do? You hold on to your water. The most fundamental way this is going to change your family structure. You're going to have less educated. We're going to have worse health. We're going to have erosions of trust even within a family. Think of civil war. That trust of the father against son, mother against daughter. These are problems, increased stress and anxiety. And the moral and ethical impact is we normalize the corrupt-like behavior, which is bad to begin with. But once it becomes normalized, oh my gosh, the chaos continues. It's like this weird cycle, and it continues and continues. We saw it in Venezuela when it collapsed. We start to see increases in discrimination, limits in advancement. Why? Because we're hoarding what's ours. Because we think we own crap. Like, we will hoard it. We will keep it for ourselves and for the people we care about the most. But then the people we care about the most are going to see us doing that. And they're going to see us no different than the people in those positions, those roles of power and authority. And they're going to view us just the same way. Now, psychologically, what does this mean? Look, at the most fundamental level, what builds relationships, all relationships, is truth, transparency, and authenticity. Why? Why do we know that? Because it's the opposite of lies, secrets, and deceptions, which, by the way, is where corruption fits in. So if the psychological aspect is corruption is not relational because it doesn't fit in with truth, authenticity, and transparency, then what we have to determine is corruption is selfish. Okay, you're all probably like, duh, Jeremiah, of course. But what do you do about it? I'm going to tell you exactly what to do, and you're going to hate it, probably, because it's super uncomfortable. But you refuse to play the game. Just don't. Just don't go to the lies, secrets, and deceptions. Do not start the hoarding process. Doesn't mean saving, totally different thing. Be generous. Not with other people's money, with your own money. See, I love it when the elite are like, yeah, let's do this great thing through our government. That's other people's money. That's not generosity for you if you're in the elite. It's not. You're saying, yeah, let's take those tax dollars, make myself look good, but it costs me nothing. It's why somebody like Elon Musk, whether you like the guy or not, dude spends his own money on things he believes in. It's why he bought Twitter, which was a failing business. Still probably is a failing business to a great extent, although he's done a decent job to turn it around some. Folks, don't play the game. From a psychological level, an individual level, which we know individuals create culture. Individuals decide what the culture is all about. What will happen if you refuse to play the game and you are generous and you refuse to go down that lies, secrets, and deceptions path, and you refuse to hoard? If you refuse to play the game, what will happen is the people in these positions of authority, these roles that have been assigned to them, they'll disappear. They'll disappear. It's just, it may take a little while, but they will disappear. Why? Because you and I would stop following them. You and I would stop trusting them with things they don't deserve to be trusted with. Why? Because they're not relational. They're manipulative. We would start to point that out. Like, hold on, this manipulation is unacceptable in our culture. We're not going to deal with this corruption, this real corruption. We don't like the economic impacts it has, the social impacts it has, the political impacts it has, the moral and ethical impacts that the corruption we see right in front of us has. And what we would do, honest to goodness, play this out. We would stop defending Democrat and Republicans. Sorry. We would. Democrats and Republicans would stop being defended. Why? Because it's not about Democrats and Republicans. It's about relationships. Because at the psychological level, everything grows out of that. Everything. Our economics grows out of that. Our morals as a culture grows out of that. Our politics grows out of that. Our social impacts and families grow out of who you are. Now, what could this mean on the much worse side of this? It could be that you all don't care, that you're out to get whatever you can get in whatever way you can get it, and that you truly are that selfish, and that lies, secrets, and deceptions don't matter to you at all. That's a possibility. And then, therefore, we are creating the culture, the politics, the social impacts, the economics that you want by virtue of your lies, secrets, and deceptions. And you think that that allows you to gain some sort of improvement in your life. Well, here, the challenge with that is there will be the haves and the have-nots in that scenario. Which means a lot of people will not get taken care of, even though everybody will pretend they're taking care of the poor, the needy. They won't. It starts with the individual, folks. It always starts with the individual. One person makes a difference. I hope this helps you to understand this very strange phenomenon of propaganda around corruption. And I hope you look at corruption differently because of this podcast. I also hope you share it with people so that more people can be well informed and stop falling for this crap and buying into this game that they tell you you have to play. You don't have to play. You do not have to play. I hope this was helpful. I do really appreciate your time. Please share it with friends. Thanks for liking, subscribing, being part of this journey. And we'll see you next time. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate our audience a lot, so we give you some simple ways to track us down. Please like, subscribe, and follow all the podcasts on different platforms. But you can also email us at healthyperspectives@protonmail.com, or you can check out our website at healthy-perspectives.com/podcast. It's a backward slash. So if you want to go to our landing page, if you go to healthy-perspectives.com, you'll still find us. You just got to click on the podcast button. Thank you so much.